To those of you joining us today, thank you for watching the Woburn Spotlight. I'm your host, Tyler Gates, here to bring you some positivity by talking to those in town, making big strides for the greater good. Today I'm extremely fortunate to have with me Marion V. Asenu, CEO and founder of MVE Media. Marion, I don't know if I butchered your last name. If I did, I'm sorry, but welcome.
That's totally fine. Thanks a lot for having me.
It's going to be an exciting one today. Actually, this platform alone is the reason we met. Cammie Baker did an episode a couple of weeks back.
Yep.
You reached out and said, I want to say hi. And so we had a great conversation, and I'm excited for you to come on and tell us a little bit about you and your company today.
Sure. Awesome. Thanks a lot for having me today.
I'm excited. So tell the audience a little bit about you, what you're here to talk about today, and a little bit about your organization.
Sure. So I'll give the short story because, of course, we can. I have a pretty long story. So first of all, my name is Marion. Again, thanks a lot for having me here today. A 2-minute version of my story is I immigrated to the United States about 5.5 years ago-ish. Mm-hmm. I was working for about 2 years in a local company, transportation-wise, like literally physical labor, and nothing related with what I do currently. But regardless of that, there is where I actually learned and understood all the business principles and everything that I apply today and everything that I do. So after 2 short years, me and my wife, we decided to start a local concierge type of business. Then I had a partner involved, and then after about 2 years in that, I started to work with different companies. What I realized over the past, I think, 2 to 3 years, marketing was the skill that I had to learn and master actually to be able to get any of my businesses that I run now to the level that I want, right? Mm-hmm. So we, as a company, after like 2 years, we were happy and fortunate to hit over $1.7 million in sales. So at that time, I realized, all right, I'm going to focus a lot on helping other companies doing that because I know what struggles we had over the past of those years, right? So then I started with what I learned and what I mastered, right? Marketing. So what I do today, initially it all started with helping some local businesses. Mm-hmm. But then a few consultants and coaches reach out to me, and is this concept now, I think it's been around forever, sales funnels. Yeah. But like nowadays, everything is focused online, right? So I went really deep into that, and everything that comes with the sales funnel strategy and tactics and things like that. That's what we do now as a company. My advertising agency, it's called MVE Media, and that's what we do now. We help other businesses, and usually now we work a lot with coaches, consultants, service providers. So for example, I'll give you a quick example.
Yeah,
a health coach that has been running the business for like the past 6-7 years, and they do a lot of business one-on-one. Mm-hmm. So what we do is we come in and we help kind of productize those businesses. We help them either build online courses. We help them sell more online so they can save more time, to spend with family, and in the same time raise their prices, make more money, and make more profits, right? Okay. My personal brand, my name. Yeah. I have a podcast, as you know. I've interviewed some pretty exciting guests, and I actually have some pretty big names coming up in the industry, in the marketing industry, right? So. That's basically where I'm at now. I have, the personal brand that I'm building and my passion to interview all industry leaders and, a lot of people that are inspiring the world, that inspire the world, and also help them, reach more visibility online. And then the business, like I said, is we help. Initially, we started with local business, but now we focus more on the coaches and consultants and service providers.
And that won't limit you by any means to geography at that point either.
No, right? That can go, we work, for example, I just had a client yesterday and she's from London. We met at an event, the event that we were just talking about. Yeah. And that has no barriers. No barriers. We can work with anybody in the world, basically.
Interesting. So, how did this kind of brainchild of yours start? I knew you wanted to start building your personal brand, but what was the turning point that you decided that you were gonna like take on this challenge? And I know it's more of a hobby than a challenge.
Yeah, well, as of now, yeah, it's not. I don't monetize.
No,
it yet. And but to be honest, like and I had one guest. His name is Mark Lack. He's actually pretty focused just on personal branding. And we were talking. He said something interesting, like a personal brand. Like everybody has one, right? So nowadays, think about it. You don't need to run a business to have a personal brand. If you are trying to get a job, if your employer goes online and searches for your name, what are they going to find? If they go, let's say you apply for a position at a bank or like any kind of like managing position, right? And your employer goes online and searches about you, and then they find only pictures with you, with like your cats or you swimming, that something that has no direct correlation with the job that you're trying to apply for. That personal brand is kind of missing in the middle. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So then what I did was, initially we started just with the name of the agency, MV Media, but then I realized that actually people do business with other people that can trust, and then they need to like and trust you before they can actually buy from you, right? So then I understood like the power of personal brand. Then that's basically where it all started, right? And it's kind of like now it's related with what I do, because I interview marketing experts on my podcast, and I actually do the work on my agency side.
So I know we're here kind of to talk a little bit about that and how to build a business, maybe even how to create a side hustle is what you said the first time you met, and I thought that was a great terminology. Now, marketing's your passion, your background, but for somebody watching this today, what would you say, how do you begin in the industry? How hard is it to kind of break into or entry to barrier? Mind just touching on that a little bit?
Sure, of course. So it all depends, like in my opinion, it doesn't matter if it's a side hustle, doesn't matter if you want to do it full time, right?
Okay.
Because nowadays, you can literally start a business from the comfort of your home, like literally without even leaving your house. And you don't even need to be an expert at the beginning. Like you can start a side hustle by doing anything. Like let's say you are a mom and you love to make cookies. You can literally start a business just by doing that. So it's insane. Like nowadays, 10 years ago, we haven't had this kind of like luxury. I literally call it a luxury now. And yes, it's true that it's crowded and a lot of people are, trying to promote this make money online type of thing, right? But there are like so many ways. Like you can initially, let's say you don't know what your passion is, you can start with affiliate marketing. Like even Amazon, for example, right? You can think about a couple products and then grab a link from those products and promote them in a blog, for example, and people buy, you get a commission from that.
Oh, okay.
And like Walmart has an affiliate process. Home Depot has one. Like any kind of like
That's
big
fun.
stores, they have something like this. So for example, like I said, you can literally start a business with any kind of product or passion that you have. Now, in order for you to turn it into a full-time thing, it's a little more work, of course, but in my opinion, it has never been easier than now.
So you kind of started touching upon affiliate marketing. That's a good way to start. Is there any other common avenues similar to affiliate marketing that you would say explore, look at?
Yeah, so let's say you love to travel.
Okay.
Now, how do you turn that into a side hustle or a business or something like that? You got to think about, are you currently traveling, or you would like to travel, right? So for example, there are two different things. But let's say you travel 2-3 times a year, you can literally start interviewing a few of the restaurants and hotels that you actually go at, right?
Oh, okay.
So then by doing that, you kind of review it and you start building, let's say, a YouTube channel, and people would see that. And then in your next trip, just by showing other, restaurants and hotels and things, like you can reach out to them, like emailing them and telling them, hey, I have a YouTube channel, I review restaurants, hotels, villas, apartments. Would you like to be featured on my show? And by them saying yes, of course, because everybody wants publicity, especially now because it's all online. Or maybe you build an Instagram account with that passion, right? You post in, and it doesn't have to be your own pictures all the time. You can literally grab pictures from around the world and start giving your 2 cents on it. And then by doing that, you build your account, and then next thing you know, yeah, it may take time.
It's going to
take some time. But by you doing that, you build that credibility on one account, and then you're basically building a platform for yourself.
So what advice would you give that, say somebody had a passion? Let's use the traveling example. Say somebody travels 2-3 times a year and is ready to figure out how to make that their livelihood or whatever it may be. How do you get started? What are the first steps? What are some of the basics?
Yes, and I actually I put together a quick video training for your audience, and they'll be able to do it right going at the businessin5steps.com.
Businessin5steps.com.
Yeah, it's a quick video training for like about 5 videos, and they can actually go and see the exact steps, but I'll be happy to just chat a little bit about it.
Please do. No, I'd love to get a preview of it.
So let's say you love to travel, like you said, right? And how do you turn that? You got to put it into a bucket that's monetizable. So the easiest way to do it is, let's say you pick a product. We can pick like a backpack, a traveling backpack, right? And you go on Alibaba.com and you order, let's say, a couple of those backpacks, right? And then next step would be you start a Facebook page. You don't even need a website. Everybody thinks, no, you need a big website. You don't. You start a Facebook page and you start promoting that backpack. And at the beginning, because it's something very new, you don't need an inventory. Like, you can literally order 5 of them. It's gonna cost you maybe like $50. And you give those away for free. And you give them for free by collecting emails. The most important asset that you can do nowadays, doesn't matter if you're a business offline or online, you need to have your email list. So by you doing that, you can see how the market responds. Do they want that product? Especially because you're giving away for free.
Right.
They'll respond. Like, if they don't want it for free, most likely nobody will like to
make money off it.
Yeah, nobody will like to pay for it, right?
Okay, that's fair.
So you just have to get creative a little bit. For example, this would be an easy way for somebody. You can spend like between $50 and $100 and test it.
Yeah.
You don't need an inventory. You don't need a warehouse. You don't even need your garage at the beginning. So then that would be one thing. That would be like the quickest way.
Yeah.
You probably need about a week to get that started, and then from there you'll see how people respond to it. And if you see that people actually want that, of course there are a couple of details in there, like how do you come up with the targeting, who you want to serve, what's the best audience. But those are like a little more in depth once you realize exactly that that's what you want to do. But because it's travel related, you can now connect like a physical product with your passion of traveling. And by you, let's say, building your YouTube account or your Instagram account with pictures and videos, by you reviewing different kind of like hotels and other like places, maybe it takes a couple months for you to actually put that together, but then you can pitch. And at the beginning, you don't even need to make money. You can just travel for free because you are promoting other people's apartments, villas, hotels, small hotels. Of course, you're not going to reach out to like huge names and brands.
Yeah.
But that's how you're starting out, and it's not complicated. Like, you don't need, like I said, you don't need a huge inventory. You don't need a huge warehouse to do it. You don't need $10,000 to invest in it. You're just building it out at the time that you are still working. So the first step would be, you do not give up your job.
Okay.
You are doing it on the side at the beginning until you test and you validate your idea.
Okay.
And that would be like a first couple of steps, like quick, easy steps to just, jump into it and see how, see if it's a valid idea, right? Because at the end of the day, you got to validate it before you jump all in.
Right. If you jump in too early, you kind of have to.
It's
sometimes
tough.
it's hit or miss, right? I feel like.
Yeah, of course. Or if you have a huge budget, there are more like in-depth, tutorials, trainings, and actually courses. I would highly recommend. If you're somebody, for all of you guys that are watching, if you have, not a huge, but if you have some savings and you want to go all in, then of course I would highly suggest to talk with a consultant or get an online course and start going from there.
Okay.
But for somebody that doesn't want to like invest a huge amount of money from the beginning, this is the easiest way to test it out.
Okay. So to get a more in-depth approach to maybe the basic 5 steps to how to kind of get from the normal 9 to 5 to a 9 to 5 with a side hustle and potentially going even farther, businessin5steps.com. They'll get a couple of videos. That would be great.
It's a free 5-day video training where I actually explain. And I go once per month. We have a meetup. It's a meetup group that we meet like once a month, and I actually answer questions. We also have a Facebook group attached to this training, so anybody can join and ask questions over there. It's totally free.
It's a great way to just gain some knowledge if this is something that you see being a passion or potentially being a passion in your life, right?
Exactly, yeah. And then you can also connect with different people, right? Somebody may like to cook, like I said. Somebody may like to flowers or anything that you can imagine. Like I've seen some niches, whatever.
However you want to say it, yeah.
That you would not believe that you can actually make money from it. So
that's too funny.
It's it's really insane.
So I'm kind of shifting gears a bit, Marian, if that's all right with you. I know you've done a great job, and from what I know about you, you've done a great job of building your personal brand. You think a little bit outside, or I'd probably reverse that and say you think a lot outside the box. And the one example that came to mind was when you bought 30 books to get 3 minutes of Gary Vee's time. Now you thought about how can I get in front of you at a book signing or whatever it may be to ask a question, and that was amazing to me. I thought that was the coolest thing. You just mind talking a little bit about how you're going about building your own personal brand, how you're getting in front of some of these larger names that you want to interview, because the way you've done it seems so masterful, and I think that would be a really good thing for a lot of the people to hear.
Sure, yeah, I'll be happy to talk about it. So at the beginning, right, let's say somebody wants to start building a brand, and in my scenario was around this industry, right? Marketing and personal branding and all the rest. So I had a mentor, right? I purchased some courses from him, and first person I reached out to him and I asked him, do you mind giving me, well actually that, I gotta recall my phrasing here. I never asked for a couple minutes of their time. I said, so this is usually my pitch. Now I can show a couple interviews that I had and a couple names, and I usually go around those names. Mm-hmm. Like it's usually the circles, like everybody knows, each other. So it's easier after I got like 10 names. Now it's easier to show who I interviewed, and then just present it that way. But at the beginning I said, and actually I started last year. I think it was June or July. It was a year. Yeah, it was an event. I had my equipment with me. I got my camera, my microphones. Of course, I invested a couple of money over there, a little bit of money over there. So then I said, I'm starting out my podcast. Would you like to be featured on? I have currently no guests, but I'm willing to use my skills on advertising. So I'm going to promote it on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram with paid ads from my own budget to promote the interview. So usually what I do is I know every guest in what stage of the business they're at. So usually I try to reach out to them when they launch a book, when they launch a course.
They want to talk about something.
Exactly, when they have something to promote. So what I say is, would you like to promote your book, your course, your program on my show? And I'm going to pay for, I hope I'm not making...
No.
And I'm going to pay for the views of that episode. And of course, they'll give me the link. I'll put the link in the description. Everybody can reach out to them. And of course, I'll show screenshots. Like for example, my first 4 episodes, because of my skills and about $200, I had about 40 to 50,000 views in a matter of a week on an episode. And believe it or not, it only costed me about $100 to $200. So it's insane. Like that's basically my pitch. I try to I look, at all the experts that I want to interview, and I have a list. I have my Dream 100 list.
Yeah.
So I have 100 people that I want to interview. I'm currently at 25, so I still got 75 left.
The fact that you're a year in and you've already checked off any of the boxes, and let alone a fourth of the boxes, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So I would say the first 4 of them were like a little bit more difficult to get, but after those 4. It was easier because now it's not just me asking for them. Because everybody knows, okay, you'll promote my book, but of course you'll assign your name with my brand. So, people that have, so for example, I interviewed Daniel Di Piazza. He's the owner of a brand called Reach 20 Something. So he has like 500,000 followers on Instagram, right? So by me assigning my name with his brand, of course, I promote his program at the end, but also once he just shares the episode on his page, the whole brand, gets that kind of attraction. But now I have the platform. When I never ask for, can you give me an hour of your time?
No, you're giving. You're give.
Exactly. Do you want to promote your book, your podcast, your whatever you have on my show, and I'm going to pay for that promotion.
So if simply put, and I know it's easier said than done sometimes, is add value first.
Exactly.
Right. They know they're giving you something. They're giving you almost their network.
Exactly.
If they give you their time. So that's.
And otherwise, to be honest, I would have had no way of I had some couple names that they charge between $5,000 and $10,000 to talk to them at a dinner. So I would have had no chance to ask for that time to just talk to them. But in this scenario, you build a platform and you give people the chance to actually be featured on your show. So then that way you build your own brand, and of course it helps everybody around. It's all a matter of not you asking all the time for or everybody that's watching and they want to go about that, right? So for example, if we were talking about traveling, if you want to build your personal brand around traveling, if you have no experience in that, start by reaching out to influencers, asking them to be interviewed. And that way you connect your name with a huge network of people doing the things that you want to do.
Great point.
So that's, that would be my advice. For example, because you mentioned Gary Vee at the beginning, I was reaching out to his team, but of course, his time is so limited. So I said, what would be an easy way that I can get 5 minutes of his time? So I bought 30 books, and then I knew that he had a book sign. And I remember at the beginning when I got there, he said, because he was we were 1,000 people over there waiting. And he said, guys, we got to go quick because I have no time. I got to leave at 1 p.m. And it was 9 a.m. So, 1,000 people, a lot of. And when I got to him and I said, I know you said you want to do it quick, but I got 30 books. But he was happy, right? He said,
he loves that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
From what I see online. I don't know him, but obviously.
Because it was something out of the box.
Yeah.
And I said, are you okay with me recording at the time that I'm asking you questions? He said, of course. He loves this stuff. So, yeah. You just got to be creative and go a little bit outside the box to just make it happen. If somebody says no, don't take it as a no. Just put it on the list. I had a couple of people say no to me, and I know I don't have the brand there yet to reach out to them. So it's fine. I'm just gonna put them on the side, and a year later,
when they come out with the next thing.
Yeah, or when I get more traction, it's gonna be a little bit easier then.
Well, good. No, that's quite an interesting take, and I know. We've kind of bounced a little bit between the personal brand, how to kind of start that side hustle, find a passion, and don't leave the 9 to 5 before testing it.
I even have a YouTube video on this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, we were getting questions. At some point, I promoted this kind of daily Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a couple questions, beginners and different levels of people at different levels in their journey. And most of the questions were, how can we start, if the first time, right? So my first step is just start, but don't quit your job. Because you're going to need some funding throughout the time, and who's going to pay for those mistakes that you're going to make? Who's going to hit some mistakes? Who's going to pay the bills? Somebody needs to pay the bills, right? So if you need to work 9 to 5, 5 to 9 p.m., just work on what you have to work, and then weekends spend more towards building what you want to build. And once you get to a level on your side hustle that you can at least pay the bills, you don't need to get to $100,000 a month in sales. As long as you can pay the bills, then you can decide if you want to go all in or not.
Great advice. And I know we've covered a lot, but I'm going to kind of give you the floor, Marion. Anything that you'd like to leave our viewers with, like to share about your personal brand, your organization, your company, or anything you're passionate about, feel free. Now's a good time to do so.
Awesome. Thank you. So, I just want to say thanks a lot for having me here.
Pleasure.
And if you guys want to learn more how to actually get to those 5 steps, feel free to go to businessin5steps.com and you can get all the tutorials there. And like I said, we work with all the coaches, consultants in different industries, and we help them productize their business. So of course, this is not a pitch or anything like that, but if anybody needs to reach out to us, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly, either on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. I'm on all platforms, Marian Viasanu Live. Actually, on April 1st, I'm starting a challenge, 365 days of 1 live video per day. So I'll take any questions, anything that anybody has to ask, and I'll be more than happy to answer to any questions that you guys have.
Well, great, Marian. It was a pleasure. I was excited to have you on. I think we definitely left the viewers with some good information. I'm excited to see where you can take your skills and your talents. It's going to be endless.
Thanks a lot for having me.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Thanks,
have a good
Marian.
one.
And thank you all for watching today's show with Marian. Remember, we all have one life to live. Let's all do our part. I'm your host, Tyler Gates. Join us again next time for another episode of the Woburn Spotlight.